Welcome back. As we saw previously, here's my balancer coming out the bottom of my engine. Let's revisit this. Here we go. So back at 440, using Brandon's lift. Today is an update day. It has been a little while since we had the harmonic balancer failure on the car. And as you can see, we have a new balancer and a new blower ring. The only carnage we have left to show here is the original blower pulley that was on the bottom of this car. Now, a little backstory on what happened here. So, about a month ago, 2 months ago, putting this new motor together at Advanced Airflow. Gary and I are putting this new motor together, and as I'm looking at the harmonic balancer, on the back, where the hub presses into the balancer, you could actually see that there was some galling, fretting, some sort of movement going in between the hub and the back side of the actual balancer itself, that it's all included in the way it's manufactured. To be safe, I sent the balancer back to the manufacturer that makes it and told them, I think I see something going on here that might be actually experiencing a failure on this balancer. Not really sure, but quote, do you think it's repairable, or should I just suck it up and go buy a brand new one and put this motor back together in the car, because I'm kind of worried. And they said, well, send it out, which is normal. Send it out, we'll take a look at it. If we see something that can be done, we can rebuild it and it'll save you some money. It's 3 different pieces put together that make this whole unit. So you've got your hub, your balancer, and the Metco adapter on the front. So send it in, we'll take a look at it, and if we see anything that we can repair, we'll do it. If not, we'll let you know. So a couple days later, I get a phone call. They said, everything looks great. We put the new hub in there because it had damage from the keyway rolling over on the last crank. So it's all set, it's on its way, it'll be good to go. Awesome. Put it in the car, we get it back together. What you see in that video is 6 days later, running the car, the exact area that hub looked like it was maneuvering around a little bit and creating an issue in the aluminum, failed. And all 6 bolts on that hub sheared off on the front of the motor, and I'll jack the car up and we'll take a look underneath and show you what's going on. And if we take a look underneath the car, you can see here we got damage, scrapes and scratches. This is from the harmonic balancer trying to exit underneath the car that you see in the slow-mo video. We got our new balancer on here, but when it came off, it hit off of the tie rods, it smashed off the bottom of the control arm. There are multiple gouges and scrapes in the tire, because you can see in the video, it actually hits the tire like 3 different times trying to exit out the bottom of the car. A couple scratches in the rim. The scariest one here is that the balancer, luckily this protective coating helped, but it could have sliced right through the radiator. It could have sliced through the 1-inch hoses on the intercooler lines, or right through the bottom of the oil pan, right through the diaper, but everything's safe under here. I literally got so lucky. It's almost wild when you start to think about it. At 125 miles an hour, this thing, a 10-pound chunk of aluminum, slamming around underneath the car and not hurt the alternator. It's just wild. So I called the company that makes this damper, and they said, send it out. Absolutely. We saw the video of your live feed. We saw that there was issues on the car. Send it out. We want to look at it because obviously there was a failure, and we want to make sure that we can make this thing stronger and make it safer so that you don't have to go through these kind of problems. So I sent the balancer back out, and they got a hold of me and said, yeah, it definitely failed. We'll send you a bill. We're going to hook you up with a discount and get you the balancer back. But to tell you the truth, it really wasn't. It's just not what I was expecting. Yes, the part failed. Yes, it doesn't have a warranty. Yes, I understand that you need to buy a new one. But it was just sent out to be checked, and I made it known that I saw an issue, and I was told that it's not an issue and it'll be fine. Maybe you should disclose when you talk to a company about how much power the car makes, because if it was a 390 horsepower stock Cobra, I completely understand why that wouldn't fail. This is bad. This is bad. I don't have an option. It's back on the car. $700 later, here we are. We've got another balancer on the front of the car. But the downtime of that failure that I feel could have been, you know, a failure like that I feel could have been avoided? Yes, I think it could. So the design change here is you have your front half, your rear half, and then there's a hub in the center of this that bolts everything to the crank. The original design on this balancer is that these 6 bolts hold the front and mid half together. The countersunk bolts hold the damper to the hub. All 6 of these small bolts are what failed. So they've changed the design here and actually remedy this solution and hopefully create a stronger unit. Is the original 6 countersunk bolts that connect the hub to the balancer are still there. Upgraded, what we've done is drilled all the way through the body, which only held the Metco balancer to the actual balancer. So the other 6 bolts only held this to here. We've drilled all the way through that back to the hub and created 6 more points of clamp load. Now, what was sent to me were some hex socket head cap screws, Allen heads, you know, extra long 2.5-inch bolts that they drilled and put through here. I went ahead, pulled those out, and bought ARP washers. We put them in the lathe, turned them down to the proper diameter on the washer because without a washer, it was galling into the material and creating a clamp load issue there. And pretty much took it upon myself to make this thing even stronger. But now we have 12 points of clamp load, as well as the crank stud that we still are running that really may have saved the day here. But we're gonna put this thing back together. I'm not saying I'm bashing on anybody. I'm not even naming who makes this balancer because I don't think it's due. But I just want everybody to know, if you're making 800 plus horsepower with a supercharged application with that balancer on the car, I would strongly suggest contacting them, letting them know that you saw this, and see what they want to do about maybe sending it back to them and having do this modification to it. Or as they told me, any local machine shop should be able to handle this situation. 5/16 by 18, have it drilled out. I don't know. So in dealing with this, we missed out on the Ford takeover race we were supposed to be at in Tennessee. It was down to the wire whether we make it. And to tell you the truth, after having the car all apart, I really didn't feel safe taking it to the track yet. I want to nut and bolt it, you know, go over everything, check some fluids out, just make sure the car's okay, because after 8 days of racing, we really put this thing through the ringer. And I just don't, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I have a car here with a lot of carnage, and thank God I'm alive and still have the car, because if it would have locked up into those brakes or cut that water line, if it would have sheared that off at that mile an hour, we undoubtedly would have gone straight left to center and possibly slammed into Jeff Smith or into the wall. Who knows? I mean, it could have been really bad. It was a glimpse of me having a wreck like David Harlow did at World Cup last year, which is, I was standing right there when it happened, and it has stuck with me since. So I don't know. If you have a balancer in your car that looks like this one and you make more than 800 wheel, I would strongly suggest getting this upgraded and increasing your clamp load, because it didn't work. It failed, whether it's on them or me or whoever, whatever. It's done is done, and let's just hope this doesn't happen again. Aside from everything that happened here, a positive thing I really do need to make note of is Rick at Metco Motorsports. This guy has been on the 03 Cobra scene for a long time. He produces all of the billet idler pulleys that we run on this car. Even this is all upgraded to a 10 rib setup. Rick is just a stand-up guy, and I cannot thank him enough. I reached out to Rick on Monday the day after that we had this balancer failure. And obviously this pulley is done. It's junk. So it became a saw blade in a sense. Before I could even finish the conversation, there was tracking and a brand new pulley on its way up. No questions asked. You need anything, you let us know. You know, Metco has always been on board. They're an awesome sponsor to have on the car. And whether it's a sponsored part or not, if you call Metco and tell him you need something, he is on board. He is responsive. They're professional. It's just everything you could ever ask for out of a company. And I can't thank him enough. So we're going to get this installed onto the new balancer, get the belts all, I got to go buy new belts. So we'll get new belts, get these pulleys installed, get the fan back on, and let's get this thing running and hope that it's not bent. So thank you, Rick. Shout out Metco. Best pulley company there is, period. And so the saga continues. It's been a couple weeks now since I got the new balancer for the motor, and yeah, put the new balancer on. It spins straight, cranks good, everything looked great. So I decided I'm going to drive the car to work today and just put some street miles on it, drive it around, look some data logs. Turned out I actually lost a fuel pump, so I put a new fuel pump in, a little more pressure, got to bring all the base tables down. It was compensating way too much. Regardless, driving to work today, and I pull off the exit that I need to get off of, and I downshift to fourth, coasting down from 60 miles an hour. Radio playing, having a great day. It's 80 degrees. It's perfect Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is. And all of a sudden the car just shudders to a stop, and I limp it into a parking lot. And here's what we got. We snapped an AccuFab secondary chain. She is coming back out. Now, I'm not saying that this is the part where I start to get upset, but it might start to get a little upset because I'm guessing that secondary chain and all the chains in there probably wreaked some havoc when a harmonic balancer fell off and there's a massive shock load in the timing system. Maybe that weakened the chain, maybe it didn't. I don't know. But you know what? It never should have happened. Here's our compression test. We are smoked. Smoked. So, thanks again. Hopefully that new setup down there will hold. That's all I got. I'm going to keep trying to do this and keep everybody up to date, but I'm supposed to be in Detroit in 2 days to have this car on display for Tremec at the Foxfest celebration for the 78 to 04 Fox body chassis. Probably one of the coolest things I have been excited for in a long time is to be asked to put my car on display out of 1,000 cars that got entered, to be able to stand by and be like, this is everything I work for. This is literally every single ounce of energy I have I put into this car because I love it. And I love doing this. I love working on stuff. And I love racing. And I really love companies that stick behind their stuff. And this ain't it. So everybody that helps me out, Tremec, Mantic, G-Force, Whipple, DEI, Wrap by SB, Mike Brown Customs. I mean, there's so many people that have been on board. And Steve at McCormick Motorsports. Like, everybody helps me out more than they should. And I'm sorry I'm not going to make it. I'm sorry to my kid. Sorry to everybody that's put in so much money into this car. Gary Granger, Advanced Airflow. This is a bullet. This car flies. It's so fast. It's so much fun. This is not normal. It's not normal. That's an AccuFab secondary chain. I don't think I've ever seen anybody break one. I don't know. Here we are, just coasting it on the highway. Either way, it's like midnight. It's hot. I'm tired. And this just took the wind straight out of the sails. So I'll keep everybody up to date as we pull the motor back out and start all over again.